The buzzword for the day. White hat hacking. Yeah, yeah, another term for it. Yep. Yeah, there might be a few gray hat hackers in here.
So will this be the same code every time?
Every time, yeah. So you can save that to your phone if you want. That way, you don't have to bring it up on the web app each time. you need help with the check-in app, let me know. Yep. Yeah, if you follow the directions on the on the board. Hello. The computer's already logged in. You just have to tap the space bar, sit anywhere you like, and follow instructions on the board. Get started. You need to log into Eagle when you get logged in and sit down. If anyone needs help with the check-in app, let me know. You should be logging into Eagle and read the check-in at the top of the class, and then Follow the instructions to join Kahoot on the overhead. You can do that, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely do that. You come up here and there's instructions on the iPad. Yep. It's easy. You are in. There you go. Yeah, you just keep that in your photos, and each Tuesday we'll check them like that. And once you checked in, go ahead and join the Kahoot. That's something I've already done on the overhead. We'll do that right when we get started. And you can join the Kahoot from your phone or your computer, either one. You got cut off. Let me see the image might have got cut off the bottom piece. Oh, you might need to scroll down a little further on your screen. There you go. Hey, yeah. Okay. For those just coming in, go ahead and log into Eagle. Click on the check-in link at the top to check in with the iPad with your phone, and then follow the instructions on the screen to access Kahoot. We'll use that as a real quick survey to get started here in a bit. That should work better. There we go. All right. There you go. You are ready. Then you go and join the Kahoot here and good to go. Oh, is it? Okay, I can fix that. What's your last name? And how's it spelled?
The last name has only
one L?
the last name.
All right, it is updated. Thank you. Okay, those just coming in, go ahead and click on the check-in link on the Eagle site. Once you sit down, computer's already logged in. Just have to tap the space bar. Once you've checked in with the iPad app up here, you can go ahead and join the Kahoot from the overhead projector with your mobile phone or your computer, either one. When you go to kahoot.it, it'll ask you for a game pin. Yeah, just go to kahoot.it. And then it should just have you put a pin in, I believe. Yeah, those just coming in. Let's do the, we'll do the check. If you've not checked in yet, don't worry about it. We'll check in a bit. I'll have everybody grab your phone and go to your web browser and fire up kahoot.it and join the survey we'll do in just a bit. While you're getting that, there'll be a pin that'll pop up. You'll enter in. It's on the overhead. Once you get that going, then you can go ahead and do what's on the board for checking in. It's on the homepage of Eagle, instructions on how to check in with your phone. We'll be checking in with the iPad up here each Tuesday. This is PCT130 and Intro to Network Security. No, not me. And so we'll be with you the next 15, 16 weeks. Tonight it's an intro night. Meets Tuesday and Thursday in this room. Time frame roughly 4:30 to 5:30 both nights. And Tuesday night's generally going to be a discussion night over content. Thursday night a lab, except for week one. I use both sessions for discussion. Tonight's just an intro night, kind of get you started. Thursday are actually introduction to week 1 content. There's no textbooks for the class. There is some downloadable content and some online content that we'll be using. We'll go over that tonight. We'll also go over how to get around Eagle, how to the makeup of the class, content, and then we'll end with talking about the research paper and presentation at the end. And then going around the room, having everybody just tell each other your first name and why you're taking the course. Sound good? All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Kahoot.it is the website you want to go to on your phone or your computer. And we'll do this pretty much every night, every Tuesday night anyway. And Kahoot is just a way to survey or take a quiz. I use it kind of like the first week, just kind of see where you're at with network security, see where your interests are, see why you're here. And then subsequent weeks, we use Kahoot to just see how you're doing as far as content knowledge and things like that. These are not graded. The Kahoots are not graded. They're just for fun to see where you're at. And it's a fun game. Kind of, if you've ever been to, like, trying to think, Buffalo Wild Wings has kind of one like these where you can play a little tablet, play a game with people all over the world. That's what Kahoot is. But you can customize, though, each one of your surveys and quizzes to be whatever you want it to be. You can get your own Kahoots if you want to for your work or other classes, or I've had students use it to study. Totally free to use, and you can sign up for it at kahoot.com. But to play the game, you can play it with just an iPhone, Android, or a web browser, and it has apps for both platforms. And they have tons of different surveys out there. So if you're into sports, they've got quizzes and surveys for sports, every type of content you can think of. So anyway, that's what Kahoot is. And you can create your own fictitious name if you want to, since we're not really grading them, but you'll know what your name is. So you're ready to get started? All right, cool. I have a little fun soundtrack. I'll play it just a little bit here. All right. So again, this is just a general. You'll see questions up here, and they'll have usually 4 options to choose from. It's going to be 9 questions in total, and you can look on the screen. What interests you about network security? Learn to combat hackers, be better prepared if a network issue comes up, learn about security network, or all the above. All right, so let's see here. Most of you are all the above. And then next one up is how to secure network. And then the last 2, learn to combat hackers and being best prepared if a issue comes up at work or home. So good. Question 2, what do you think is used most by hackers when hacking a network? Weak passwords, social engineering. We'll talk a lot about both this semester. If you don't know what social engineering is, you'll find out what that is this semester. So weak passwords, a little bit below the social engineering. Social engineering definitely is the #1 way for hackers to get into networks. And a real simple definition of social engineering is using words and social content, whether it be in your restaurant, you're in a bar, at a party, and you smooze up to somebody to get information, okay? Become a friend to them. Maybe you guide yourself as a salesperson, whatever. That's how hackers normally get in 90% of the time into companies, through that type of way. There is, yearly conventions where we test this out on this very concept. The last one done in Vegas, DEF CON, we went into a number of Walmarts around the Vegas area to see how long it would take to get the administrator password to get into web server. And the fastest was within 4 minutes. And so just using social engineering. And so social engineering is a big one. As you hear in the news sometimes, grandma and grandpas or even middle-aged folks like ourselves and like yourself, even teenagers fall prey to this, where you get a phone call about helping somebody that's a long-lost relative you haven't seen forever, and you're like, well, and they're really upset and they need money now to get out of jail or get out of this bind or whatever. And believe it or not, a lot of people fall for it, and because they're good people, good-hearted people, and want to help anybody, not just if they're. A lot of people think, well, even if they're not my relative, if they're this dire straight, I'm going to help them out. if they have it, and they do it. So, so yeah, social engineering we'll talk more about this semester. Weak passwords also we'll talk about and find out what a strong password is, and also what a weak password is, which most people already know that. Are you interested in internship opportunities? Just tell me yes or no. Had a lot of them come across my desk over the semester, from local companies to even in Rock Valley College. A lot of times I'll need help doing something. And it's always a good opportunity to learn and to grow. So majority of you, yes. That's awesome. We'll talk more about that in the days to come. What field in IT security interests you most? Ethical hacking, which is kind of a white hack or a good hacker, or building a secure network? No wrong answer. So building a secure network, one out. Some ethical hackers. Ethical hacking, you might not have heard of that term basically. It's basically where a lot of you are here tonight, probably in this semester, some of you, is just to find out ways that the ways hackers think and what they do to be able to defend against hacking on your company's server or your personal computer at home. That's called ethical hacking, where you're using your knowledge to gain access, to understand how hackers gain access, if that makes sense. So a lot of black hat hackers, or you could say the bad hackers, the criminals, start out in ethical reasoning to learn, right? They want to learn stuff. They want to learn how to take apart a network or to take down a server just to do it, to see how it's done. Being inquisitive and trying to figure stuff out. And then over time, something happens and they need money or whatever, they fall across the wrong crowd and they start getting into the criminal aspect of it. And so, so you'll learn starting in week 2 some concepts in the labs that we do that will definitely teeter on. These concepts can be used and skills can be used for the dark side or for the good side, basically. All right, the tools that you'll get. And so in IT security, I tell you each week, this can be used for good or evil. And so a lot of the information that you get can definitely be used for evil and good both. So just beware of that and, beware of who you share it with and stuff like you would anything that's confidential or something. So, all right, next, why are you taking this course? Graduation requirement, general knowledge, work requires it, or other. All right, so majority of you, graduation requirement, next is general knowledge and other. So good, great. Are you interested in CompTIA Security Plus certification? It's kind of a middle tier certification, not Cisco or Microsoft, kind of a middle tier. It's a really good one. We offer here on campus. If you're interested, just say yes or no. Cool. I'll give you more information about that this semester, where maybe you can take it over the summer when you have more time to study and stuff like that. We have a deal with CompTIA on campus. You might be familiar with the testing center here. We do testing for CompTIA certifications, one of them being Security Plus. In 2009, smartphone outsold computers. True or false? 2009, which is just 10 years ago. It's a decade old. Only a decade old. True. For the first time, 2009, smartphones outsold computers in the business and consumer sector both. Doesn't surprise many of you because the majority of us throughout the day use our phones more than any other device, whether it be for email or social media or documents or communication. And so a lot of companies, because of that, are having to switch how they do things network security wise to a middleman packager that packages and manages phones and devices now, like tablets, where that wasn't unheard of kind of 5 years ago. And so now IT folks everywhere are having to deal with that and to, so they can lock down phones. When the phone is stolen, they can wipe it. When a phone is not returned, they can destroy it with the data, stuff like that very easily. And there's free packages for MDM, package management, to paid packages, all right? and we'll talk about those this semester as well, some stuff you can play with on your own maybe. Whether you're an Android or iOS, you can play around with the MDM packaging that are out there. Individuals that want to hack into computers to create damage but lack the skills are called what? Black hat hackers, hackers, or script kiddies. And that is an image from the infamous movie Hackers with Angelina Jolie and the gentleman who now plays, I think it's, what is it? Oh, Sherlock Holmes. So anyway, 11 is script kiddies. That's correct. Script kiddies is basically folks that download prepackaged apps to do damage, whatever it might be. It could be take a server down, deface a network, deface a web server, take over somebody's computer, whatever it might be. And there's millions of them out there, by the way, different ones out there. So the first step in an attack is what, you think? Penetrate into defenses, paralyze network devices, probe for information, or modify security settings. Take a guess. 10, probing for information. That is the number one thing that hackers will do. They'll come into an environment like the school or business, fire up a laptop, and immediately scan the network for activity. For sure, they'll look for what server IP address is, all the computers that are connected. They might even leave something overnight to collect data, or they might get in and out, like a lot of times in hotspots, like in cafes, to like a man-in-the-middle attack where you'll learn about. We'll do a lab this semester in a few weeks where you go into a Starbucks or McDonald's or some place that has a free Wi-Fi. Let's say the SSID for that Wi-Fi is called ATT or whatever, right? It's a popular one. Hacker comes in and creates a rogue ATT Wi-Fi access point from their laptop, which anybody can do easily. Makes it totally free for anybody to connect to. And it's a stronger signal because we're out in the actual restaurant instead of being in the back or something. And so if folks have been there before, the way Wi-Fi works on devices, it looks for the strongest signal next to that and connects to that automatically sometimes if they have it set up that way, which a lot of people do. And so it connects to the hacker's machine. They can then, the person gets internet. They might even not even realize they didn't see the normal, you get that usage kind of information screen that comes up. It says, oh, this is Starbucks, use it wisely, whatever, and you hit OK. You might even not see that, not even recognize they didn't see it. But as soon as they start doing anything on their computer now, they're connected to the man-in-the-middle attack via the hacker's machine. The hacker's able to gather data, seeing what websites are connected to, what information they're sending, if it's over clear text. And within a matter of minutes, they can gather hundreds of passwords and usernames from people's computers without them even knowing it, and shut their laptop and walk out, and then go home and get the data mining tools they need to start hacking. And so a lot of times they'll also do, and the lab we do in here is a man-in-the-middle attack on Facebook, which is the #1 social media site for millennials and X generation. And so they'll set up a rogue phished website that basically the person will put their real username and password in. It'll say it's incorrect. Go to a reset page or try again page, and they'll try every known username and password that they know within about a minute. That's human nature to do that. So in essence, the hackers then turns off that hack. The person can get into the real Facebook, but now they've gathered all their username and passwords they use for their bank, their credit cards, every known account they ever have or had, and literally can do some pretty good damage. And so you'll learn why that's done, how that's done, ways to thwart against it from happening in a network. But the first step that hackers do when they go into any environment, even ethical hackers, when we're trying to investigate an incident or look at anomalies of something on a network, we'll probe for information of where's this data coming from, where's this data being pulled from on the network, who's downloading so much data that's sucking down a bandwidth and people can't get access to anything. So we can probe, and there's tools that you'll learn how to use this semester to help you to do that. So that's Kahoot. Pretty fun, right? Not too hard. And it also at the end gives a breakdown of if it was a quiz, it would give us a breakdown of who actually won the Kahoot. But this is just a survey, just to play around. So hopefully you like it. All right, now we're going to go over the Eagle tonight, basically, and how to get around Eagle, the makeup of the class. We'll be done for tonight. Won't keep you real long for this. And then Thursday, we'll actually get into week 1 content, which we'll talk about in a second. But I want to make sure and go over tonight how the makeup of the class, when things are due, communication style I like, stuff like that. All right. All right. So intro to network security, Tuesday, Thursday, 4:30 in this classroom. And it's wrong room number. It's still the old room number here, but you know where you're at. It's actually 2222, that's my office down the hall. This number here is a Google phone, my Google phone number that you can call or text. I prefer texting or email, either one. If you have a question, you're going to be late, you're going to miss a class, you can just shoot me a quick text, so you can save that as a contact in your phone if you want to. It'll come directly to my Google phone, and then I can reply to you. General course navigation helps. Just gets around different aspects. I'm going to be uploading a new syllabus. So disregard this link here to the syllabus. There's another one I'll talk about in a second. Course textbooks we'll look at in a second. You can follow myself on Twitter, our division, CISRBC on Twitter, and then myself on Snapchat, which we haven't really been playing with that much lately. So we used to do the daily stories, but we're still on there, but we're not really doing much. So you don't have to do the Snapchat thing. But we do post quite a bit on Twitter, though, for both my personal channel and also the division channel. I'm kind of over all the social media for our division and the web stuff. So each course, or this course is designed like a lot of Eagle courses. Each week is broken down what's called modules, right? Week 1 module, week 2, so on and so forth. Each module represents a certain number of pages that you have to complete for going to the next page. A new module, like an example, like next week's module cannot be started until all assignments are completed in the current module. You get to actually force it and do it, but shouldn't do it until you finish your current module. You have to complete a week's module when you reach you have completed this module page, which we'll look at in a second. The makeup of Eagle that you guys see anyway. You should see home on the left, announcements, module, syllabus, and grades. In fact, I'll switch it to your view here so you see it like I see it, like you see it. So on the left side of Eagle, you should see what I see here on the overhead. Announcements, modules, syllabus, grades, Office 365, Google Drive, and class notebook, I believe. Everybody see that on yours? Cool. Course success, we'll go over that. Basically, it just talks about ways to succeed in the course. Nothing real hard here. Just make sure to do the reading before coming to class each week. On Tuesday, we'll be going over the content of that week. Participate in discussions and labs on Tuesday and Thursday both. Complete all assignments by due date. And just silence your cell phone when you're in class. Next, I'm not going to go syllabus because that link is not updated yet. Course documents, let's click on that. Inside of course documents, keep clicking, it'll go to a folder, a Google Drive folder. You can just watch mine if you want to. And inside of here is all the different PDFs, or there is some, most labs, some labs are in here as well, but the PDFs are over the content that we're going over that week. In the view documents. Course information area has ways to get started, which does have a due date on that, which I already went over, which is basically reading syllabus, yada, yada, yada. When you're done with all of that, all you have to do is reply below that you've read it, which you can do now if you want to. Course discussion. This section here is a section for you to post and reply to others' questions. Discussion in here, you can discuss whatever's on your mind. The only rule is to be kind to each other. And so it can be politics, it can be you're selling a phone, you're buying a phone, you're selling a car, buying a car, whatever. You can post stuff in here. This is your area to kind of communicate to one another. And so it's a good way to build community amongst the class. So use it and check on it once a day or something for a minute or two if you want to. Connection assistant. This is a new post for basically it's mainly for office hours, but there's other things in here too, or scheduling a meeting with me, like helping with courses, speaker requests, chatting, upcoming events, our RBC Hour Code, which I do at the Cherryville Mall once a month, the first Tuesday. If you are interested in helping with that, let me know. I can plug you in to help. But like on the schedule meeting, I'll click on that. You don't have to. You can just watch me do it. On the schedule meeting, when you click on it, it'll give you the choice for up at the top here where it says online, preferred, face-to-face, in my office. And so you'll have a choice of either online or face-to-face. You'll see in a second. So say you want to meet Tuesday the 22nd. You're off that day and you want to meet or something. 2 times it can meet. You select one of the times, confirm it, fill in your information, say, yeah, I can do it online. That's fine. And I'll just send you a link basically once I get this confirmation of what you're going to do to meet with me online. And you can do it from your phone. It's not real hard to do. And we can discuss whatever. If you need a face-to-face, though, you can check that as well and then schedule the event. It'll come right to your phone and remind you of it. So this is a connection bot. Downloading textbook. This one here I do recommend doing. It's the 4th edition Security Guide to Network Fundamentals. It allowed us to use at no cost for this class. And so utilize it and download it between now and next week, or actually now and Thursday if you could. Going on down to week 1. So week 1, each week I try to put in there a task, what we're going over that week, podcast link. That one is what you're watching on the overhead and hearing is being recorded as we speak. About me for week 1 is all about yourself. And in here you'll post some information about your name you go by, favorite food, movie, hobbies, while you're taking a class, and reply to at least 2 other people's posts. You can do more than 2, but at least 2 would be great. Review questions. When you download that PDF, there, on page 55, there's a review where review questions start for the first chapter we're going over. You'll only give me the answers only. So it'll have a question and it'll be, say, A, B, C, or D, or whatever. You just say an example might be A, 2 might be B, 3, D, and 4 might be a short answer or something, possibly. I recommend doing these review questions offline of Eagle. That way, when you're done, you can just post them. Because the way I have them set here is submitting via text box entry. And what that means is when you hit the submit button, it just gives you a text entry to paste in those answers. So you can't upload a document. So if you do it offline in Word or in Notepad or whatever, you can just paste it in here when you're done. I've even had students doing notes on their phone or tablet, and then you can just paste it there when you're done as well, however you want to do it. But each week will generally have the review questions. Going back, I'm going to go to this modules view. I like that view better. On the modules view, week 1, chapter 1 quiz. Again, it's from the PDF book you download from the homepage. This one has 22 questions, no time limit, 3 attempts, the highest score out of 3. And you'll take this off-site. You can do it on campus, but don't do it in class. And you do it at home anytime you want to. And you have till Sunday at 11:59 each week to complete all your assignments. And let me just show you a real nice view for those of you who haven't been on campus for a while or haven't used Eagle for a while. Here on the left side, this is where the real syllabus is at that I finally did upload tonight. They reformatted everything for us, so or made us reformat everything. So this is the updated syllabus. I won't click on that, but you can definitely click on it and read it at your own leisure. But the reason I want to go to the syllabus page was it breaks down by due date all the stuff due. And you'll notice it's all Sundays coming up. So this Sunday, next Sunday, so on and so forth. And you'll notice each week pretty much has a quiz, a lab, and review questions for sure. Those three: quiz, lab, review questions. The lab is what we do on Thursday. Is always worth 50 points. Some labs might take the entire time till the end of class. Some labs might take 30 minutes to get done. So whatever that time frame might be, we're done for the night on Thursdays. And so Tuesdays when we come in, we'll have you check in. This tablet will be up and running by 4:15 in here, if not earlier. So you can check in, get into Eagle. We'll do discussion. Done with the night. Whenever I'm done with the discussion, we're done for the night, whatever that time is. And then Thursday when you come in, you'll generally have a handout up here at the front. You don't have to check in though on Thursday. You'll pick up the handout, sit down. We'll do the lab. A lot of labs are partnering labs. There's a few by yourself. There are a few labs I have you take home and do to where you're remoting into each other's computer, or we're doing something like that to play around with technology. At the end of each lab, though, you'll submit your name that you are here, so you can get to 50 points for the most part. Okay. Also, for the lab, while I'm talking about it, I recommend bringing a binder, like a 3-ring binder, on Thursdays if you can, just to go buy a cheap one at Walmart or got one at home you haven't used, and bring that. And because I always try to not only print them out, but do a 3-hole punch for you. And then like next week, week 2, we do an NT reset lab, which that lab shows you how to reset a password on a computer with a Linux tool that we've used for years. But it has software with it. So you put your binder in there of lab materials. And at Walmart, they still carry, believe it or not, the little sleeves you can put CDs and DVDs in. A lot of you don't even have DVD players at home anymore on your computers. So I will talk about how to convert those. Those I do hand out that are DVDs to a USB drive maybe, which everybody should have that, to where you can use it as a bootable drive or something like that, which a lot of times we use in Linux. And most all your computers, whether it's Mac or PC, can boot up from a USB now. But as you can see, starting with week 4, quiz, lab, review questions for the most part. Going back, let's go over the grades section. I generally try to grade everything, since things are due Sunday at midnight, 11:59. I try everything graded for this class by Wednesday of that week. And so in Eagle, if you set it up so you'll get notified when a grade has been updated, right? And let me just show you how to do that real quick for those of you that don't know how to do it. Let's see here. I'm in student view, so let me get out of that and go into my own view. I have to go to the settings. You guys should have on the left side, let me make sure. Do you guys have on the left side settings available somewhere? Not a. Let me go back to my view then to show you where the notifications are. If you know where they're at, you can let me know because they might have moved them. I'll go back to student view. We'll find them. Okay. Oh, go to account. You have account? Let's go there. Let's go to account and then notifications. Okay. Well, I'm not a student, so I can't see it. But when you guys go there, let me peek over somebody's shoulder here. All right, cool. So I'm looking at her computer here. Notice you can toggle what you want notified or not notified on the right side. Okay. So like when I update grades, you can toggle that to be notified every time. I think that's default set to do that, if I'm not mistaken. So like you can see mine, what I see, or the way I set mine up. You notice I push notifications for everything. So due dates, grading policy, course content. If I upload a file, it updates you guys. If I change a file, it updates you. If I add an announcement, it updates you. So you can go through there, and I recommend checking everything that to be notified. And you have 3 or 4 columns to check, I think, from on your notifications. But I recommend doing that. That way you'll be notified anytime a grade has been updated. I generally will send an email out to everybody via your email, but this way you're notified immediately whenever I change a grade, as I change them. Does that make sense? So by Wednesday the following week, I try to have all the grades updated for that past Sunday. So if we go back into week 1 and scroll up a little higher from week 1, underneath the module says course information. You'll notice there's a hacker movies one. We'll click in that, just some fun stuff. These are recommended hacker movies if you've not seen them. You know, maybe if you have Netflix or whatever, Amazon, most of these can be found on there. And every one of them's good, a hacker movie. You know, they dramatize hacking, but they're good movies. They're fun movies to watch. Especially if you've never seen Pirates of Silicon Valley, it's a story of the beginning of Microsoft and Apple between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and how that all started. How the friendship, or you might say rivalry, or both, kind of started up with those guys. And it's kind of funny also in that one. You know, there's a scene in there where Microsoft pitches to a big company to support them financially for the DOS 1.1, and they didn't even have any code written yet. And this company gave them money, and so they had to go find somebody that they knew a guy that had something. And so it's a good movie. If you've not seen it before, I recommend it. All those are good, but for sure the Hacker and Silicon Valley be the first two. Kind of watch them in that order. Is kind of recommend it. Next, iTunes. We don't use it anymore. Not this semester anyway. Wi-Fi Slacks. It's a pretty good on ethical hacking documentation for WPA2 Wi-Fi. Cracking a password for WPA2 security. And I think I put in there underneath, if you look at extra labs, I think I might have in there a screenshot underneath. There's a lab on pfSense we did on a Saturday. I might still do one this. I might do this again this semester. We're coming on a Saturday. There's so much stuff we can do on a semester. We don't have time. But one of them is a couple of them I like to do on Saturdays sometimes. And you don't have to do this, by the way. It's just on your own accord. One is on pfSense, where we set up a firewall using a free tool called pfSense. And then second is a drive around war driving, basically, where you gather access point data from a 5-mile radius of Rock Valley. We come back, we put in a spreadsheet, and just see how many Wi-Fi access points are open. We don't actually do anything to the access points. We just see if they're open with tools as you drive around. It gathers content as far as if it's a secure network or non-secure network. It's kind of interesting just to see that data. This here's one we could do as well. It took 30 minutes to hack a password on WPA2 security, which is the most secure we have thus far. And using a tool and kicking it out to a password, the AirCrack NG is what it's called. So anyway, we might do some of that this semester if you're interested. I'll poll you guys maybe on Kahoot to see if you'd be interested in doing that. So it would be down the road a little bit. Pen testing resources. These are just, it's a GitHub page to a whole bunch of penetration testing resources when it comes to ethical hacking. From online resources to downloadable tools, to books, to vulnerability databases, security courses, conferences, magazines. The guy keeps it updated all the time. I think the latest update was this about 3 months ago. So it's just a good list, I believe, for you. And I'm a big believer in throwing as much content at you as possible. Not really that you have to turn into me, but just to use to build your library of resources to help you as a ethical hacker and as a network person in general. Now, the next thing I tried this last semester, didn't go over so hot, so I might try it again this semester. These are ethical hacking challenges. And I think the reason it didn't go over well is I added points to it. So I took the points away. It's just a challenge, okay? So let me talk about this real quick. And we'll talk more Thursday about it. Okay, in order to become an ethical hacker, one of the things you got to do, right, is actually do some hacking. You got to figure it out anyway, somehow, right? Hands-on. And one of the best ways to do it's in an online environment to where you can play around, right, and do stuff and not hurt anything. And so there's a website that you'll see in a second, challenges. And these ethical hacking challenges help you understand the concept of hacking, so you're better suited to thwart attacks against future and present networks. If you need help looking up a challenge or with a challenge, let me know. Don't ask your classmates for help. Do not Google search for help. Just try to figure it out. And let me show you what the site looks like. And so it's called hackthisite.org. And you log in with the information. You'll set up an account. Once you log in, there's challenges down here at the left. The first one's this basic mission. And logins required for all these. It doesn't let you see without it. I don't have my password memorized in here. I think I redid my laptop. I don't think so. I'll try here just to see. I doubt if I remember it. Oh, there you go. Oh, doesn't exist. Anyway, you'll have these challenges down here. Once you have these challenges clicked on, the first 4 challenges are basic HTML ethical hacking challenges. And each one of them, like the first one is, you know how you can go onto a web page and look at the source code of a web page, maybe? In that source code HTML source code is a password that you have to find, basically, in the source code that's commented out. So stuff like that. And so I'll get rid of this 10-point thing. But inside of here is solutions as well that I did post on some of these. Like the first one I'll just go ahead and give you just to show you what it looked like. This was called the idiot test. It's a basic idiot test challenge. Ever wondered why it's called that? The first level basic mission is to make sure you can continue with the further levels or not. If you're reading this, it's probably because you don't know how to find a password to move on to the next level. But don't give up. Advice: if you want to be a hacker, learn and not beg. And so this level is called the idiot test. And basically, it talks about if you can't complete, don't worry about it. Don't let it bog you down. Just keep trying to learn. Then it goes on, talks about the answer, how to find it, where to find it, and resources of what you learned. Each one of them would do. So those are in there for you as well. That did find helpful. Students did find that helpful, especially those that got stuck. And they did try hours and hours of doing it on their own before they went in there. And so challenge 2 is challenges 5 through 11 here, which is phone phreaking, JavaScript mission, forensic mission, XBasic, and Stego mission. So anyway, I will turn those on if you guys are interested. I will be 0 grade on them. It's just, again, something hopefully some of you might enjoy doing and getting some out of it. Okay, going on down here. Week 2 content, week 2 task. Read chapter 2 from the downloaded text. There'll be a podcast posted from the in-class session on Tuesday next week. In-class lab we'll do next Thursday. Review questions, quiz. We'll have a Kahoot as always. On your Kahoots from here on out, you can make up a fictitious name if you want to, a superhero, something DC comic person or whatever you want to be. That's fine. And the podcast, I will keep them in here from last semester until I replace them with this semester stuff. So if you want to look at future courses or future weeks podcasts from last time, you can definitely do that. I'll leave them in there where you can see it. So next week, we'll actually do our first lab. And the reason I wanted to bring up week 2, at least is tonight, was called NT Reset. And basically, NT Reset is a software developed years ago. It actually used to be on a floppy disk years ago when I first started using it. And it's a registry editor and an NT password reset utility. And in IT, sometimes we need to, people leave, whether disgruntled or whatever, and they reset an administrator password on a machine. Or they do it while they're there at work and nobody knows it until after they leave. And then the administrator comes to reformat the drive or whatever, and they can't get in. So this tool helps to reset a password on any Windows NT computer up through the latest and greatest Windows 10 version. Once you learn how to use this tool, it takes about a minute and a half to clear an administrator password. With this tool, it can be booted up from I gave you guys a DVD or CD, but it can be booted up from a USB as well. And on the side, it actually goes over the difference between a USB or CD bootable instruction, where you can actually download the image and put it on USB. But I give you the one in the class that's on CD. But basically, you're going to, in this one, I'll show you the document, what it looks like. So this is a handout you'll get. It'll be 3-hole punch. It's a multi-page, really ugly looking document. But basically what it is, it mimics a screen of the monitor as you're going through stuff. And it basically most of the input from you is going to be just the enter key or choosing certain menu items. But once you've gone through it I had you go through it twice in class. The first time I walk you through it myself. The second time I have you do it on your own with the documentation to help you. But once you've used it a couple times, you won't need the documentation anymore. And again, this is just a multi-page of a screen of what the screen looks like, basically, all the way till at the end. I'll show you this part where it says clear password. Edit. You can edit a password with this or two. You can promote a user to an administrator with this as well, or you can at the very beginning here. This recovery console, it'll actually let you go into and use it as like a Windows recovery tool, or say a hard drive crashed and you just want to dump data to an external drive. You can use this tool to do that as well. You can just choose the recovery console to get into drag files from a hard drive to an external drive. So it's a good tool overall, not just for resetting password, but for getting in and doing any type of management for files as well. So anyway, we'll do that week 2. Going back to the home menu. So between now and Tuesday or Thursday, we're going to be doing a podcast, 2 podcasts this week. Tonight, which is already being recorded there. Session 2, we're going to go over chapter 1 content in session 2. So if you want to download the text and at least browse through chapter 1, that'd be great. You don't have to know every word in it, but you kind of know what we're going to talk about on Thursday. Sound good? Any questions? Oh, my voice is about going, sorry. All right, so 130, network security, intro to network security. Hope you have a good time this semester. Learn some things on network security. Make sure and bring, this week you do not need to bring the 3-ring binder. We're just having another discussion on chapter 1. But next Thursday, and I'll remind you to do that. When you come in on Thursday, you won't need to check in with the iPad. It's only on Tuesdays only. And then Thursdays normally starting next week is Tuesday discussion. Thursday is going to be lab time. Sound good? And before you leave tonight, Make sure and log off of anything you're logged in on Eagle. And if you have any questions or you have not checked in yet, come up and see me. Otherwise, I'll see you Thursday.